Today we have Chris Gregorio with us, owner of Burn Bootcamp Coral Gables. He shares his story with us, how he got into fitness, why he started this business, and how important the community is for the growth of a business. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. We're back at Coffee with Founders. Today we have Chris Gregorio with us, owner of Burn Bootcamp. Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This is so exciting.
Yeah, we're excited. We love your concept. We love your energy. So we wanted to bring you here to Coffee with Founders to hear a little bit about your story and Burn Bootcamp, about why you went through franchise, why you've decided everything that you've done and how you've done it. So why don't we start, from the very beginning? Tell us a little bit about your story and how you got started into fitness.
Yeah. So if I think about my evolution into, or how I ended up in fitness, I think a lot of times when we fall into things that are our passions, it's sort of just like a life trajectory path. Our business is in Coral Gables. I actually went to University of Miami, which is a local school. I got my degree in psychology with a trajectory for law, which clearly didn't happen.
Wow.
And which my parents love. They're like, we wanted you. I tell them they paid for 4 years of therapy, which they think was very expensive, but hey, yeah. So I was very overweight, and it wasn't I wasn't conscious, I would say, about my eating habits or my fitness habits. I was eating a lot out of convenience, which I think is something that we do, especially in this country. We eat a lot out of convenience. And I've always liked healthy food and unhealthy food. There wasn't this distinction between, oh, I really don't like salad or I really don't like vegetables. It wasn't that for me. It was, I'm going to eat fast food because it's quick and easy and I'm on the go and I have a lot of things going on. And to be honest, I have no idea what clicked, but one day I just made the decision that I was going to put intellect and intention behind what I was eating. And I didn't deny myself anything, which really made it powerful for me, because I told myself, if I want the fast food, if I want the cake, if I want the ice cream, I'm going to have it. But what I'm going to do is pause before I eat it and ask myself, do I actually want this? Do I want it because it's in front of me, or do I want it because I'm craving it? And then if I was craving it, I'd eat the whole cake. But if I wasn't, it was very easy for me to be like, no, I don't want it. And
I'll eat it another day.
Right. And to make the healthier choice. So I actually lost 50 pounds just by doing that. Just by switching my diet. I cut out soda. I was like, I don't love soda. I drink it because it's easy. I'll just drink water. So cut out soda, cut out fast food. That was it. I didn't cut out carbs. I didn't do this whole thing. I just said, I'm going to pause before every meal and ask if I want what's in front of me. And if I don't want it, then I'm not going to eat it. And honestly, it worked really well. And not denying myself anything also worked. And then I walked into a Barry's Bootcamp class. That's 50 pounds later. So I had lost 50 pounds already. And something clicked. I fell in love. I started taking the class like crazy. There was one specific instructor who ended up becoming a really close friend of mine. And now he's my business partner at Burn, actually. And I lost another 50 pounds with him. Wow. So my weight loss journey was 100 pounds total, which is crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, it's been 5 years and it feels like a different person. And I learned so much through the journey. I learned so much about myself, I learned so much about my body. I learned so much just about the world in general. And I feel so much healthier. And I see fitness in this way. Like, I see it as a really positive tool to help change people's lives. I know that it definitely positively impacted my life, physically, emotionally, mentally. And that's why I really love being in fitness. And it's something that, I don't know, I wouldn't want to do anything else. I know the positive impact that it can have, and I've seen it not only with myself, but on other people as well.
Wow. And what a powerful place for you to be after you're telling us this story, to be now the platform to allow other people to go through basically the same thing you did. I mean, in different ways, people have different life scenarios, but to be able to offer that. So now let's get into Burn. You said you went to Barry's Bootcamp. You loved the kind of group exercise dynamics.
Yeah.
You started getting very well with the coach, and now is your business partner. How was that process? How did you decide, okay, now I want to be the platform. Now I want to be somebody that offer this to other people. And how did you decide you wanted to go with a franchise instead of maybe creating your own thing or just putting something together?
So I think two things. I was actually introduced to Burn through Patrick, and I really love what they stand for as a company. Okay. So they're really women focused, which is really nice because I think there is a lot of barriers to entry into fitness. And people see it as this big, scary situation when it's really not. Something like Barry's Bootcamp, if you've ever attended, it's a fantastic space, but there is a lot of like, you better be like in shape and ready to go, and a lot of Instagram people, and it's very intense. I happen to thrive in that. I loved it and I was hooked right away, but I do understand that it can be intimidating for a lot of people. And Burn feels more like a home. So it's much more focused on family, much more focused on community. We try to really soften those barriers to entry. And there's a few things that we offer that make that difference. And it's what made us go with Burn. So we offer complimentary child watch. That's really helpful, specifically for moms who are interested in getting back in shape, but are responsible for their kids and they don't have anything to do. So we have a child walk room, which is awesome. And they can drop their kids off literally right behind them while they work out. And they know that there's someone taking care of them. And they don't have to think about it for 45 minutes, which is great. The model also offers one-on-one focus meetings with personal trainers. And, when you're entering into fitness, it can be a scary place. So having the opportunity, a built-in opportunity to talk to a personal trainer and say like, hey, I'm starting off and I need help here and I need help there. And looking at this person really in, like in the eyes, someone that is going to be training you, the intimidation goes away. I think that's really what made us go with Burn specifically and, with the franchise model. That being said, Burn is a great place for people who want to like go kill it and are very experienced and want to crush it. I take camp there all the time and I just like kill myself, obviously like in the best way possible.
All right.
So the model itself, I really liked it because it like softens those barriers to entry and makes it easier for people who are really starting off and want to introduce, and it focuses on community and family. And that's something that we really care about. And on the flip side, if you want to come in and kill it, we're here for that too. And we love it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think that, you having that mentality of a family oriented and community, I think that's part of who you are and how you got into it as well, because I feel like you making that connection with your coach and with yourself first, when you understood yourself and you're like, okay, this is great, the way I feel now, the way I'm seeing myself, the way I'm living now. Right. And then making that connection, I guess, helped you through that barrier that you're talking about. And it's like, okay, we want to have that connection with our customers and with our people that come, and it's just a community. And that, I'm curious because you had that in mind. And I think when you went and you said, okay, I want to have my own studio and I want to have my own gym, why did you go, okay, you start looking into franchises or, versus going, okay, I'm going to build my own brand? Why did you decide versus a franchise versus having your own?
Yeah, so for us, it worked backwards. We were actually introduced to Burn and I saw everything that they had to offer. And then the opportunity to actually purchase this franchise was available. So it became like a natural evolution or a natural conversation that just made sense. Yeah.
So, you never had that distinction between, do I start gym?
We saw this model and really loved it and loved that it helped with the barriers to entry, helped that it was focused on women. We loved all of those aspects of it. And really that's why it seemed to be the perfect fit.
That's
right.
Perfect.
Chris, was there a specific reason why you guys chose Coral Gables? How you guys, felt here in the city? Do you feel you guys have felt that support? I know you're doing a lot of partnerships, so I'm interested in knowing a little bit about that. You're a local promoter, so I think it's good to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say Coral Gables is really a family community, and Burn is really, and our members know this, and the members that we've had, they're our family. And I think we wanted a community that was centered around family. And that's why Coral Gables is just like a very natural fit for something, for a business like ours, for us as people. It just felt like a really natural fit. The community has been really great. I mean, obviously these have been really challenging times. That being said, I've really branched out and partnered with as many local people in the community as possible, because I think more is more for everyone. So we've partnered with local acupuncture, local nutritionists, local yoga studio, a local spinning studio, a local hotel, the Chamber of Commerce. I'm now starting to connect to them and reach out with them and just really get as involved as possible with the community. And then separate from that, we have some members, that's a member of a local PTA. And I offered her our space on off hours to be able to meet. We have a member that runs a cancer organization. I offered her our space to be able to have her meetings or do whatever needs to happen. And we just really want to facilitate any sort of community aspect and whatever that looks like based off of our community. Right now, that's what it looks like for us. We're going to host these PTA meetings once they come back in, and we're going to offer our space to this cancer association completely free of charge to be able to host events for them. And I think as we grow with time, there'll be more opportunities to do more things like that. And that's really the path that I would like to take.
Yeah, no, and I definitely agree. I think that's good that you're looking at it in a certain way, because it allows you to be flexible and also offer not only your spaces, your services, basically everything to all of them. And also it gives you the opportunity to talk to them and have another kind of conversation. Not only this is my service, you come in, you get the workout done, and then I'll see you tomorrow or next week or however many times you come. But it also gives you the opportunity to listen to them, right? And hear what their concern is, what they're going through, what their needs are. And I'm pretty sure that gives you more ideas of, things that you can add into your burn schedule, or things that you can do, products that you can start to offer. How has that process been? Have you seen you and Frankie work on or work with people around starting to get a little bit more feedback, adapt your services a little bit, especially after the pandemic that basically everything changed?
Yeah, I think listening, it kind of all circles back to the same thing about us being a family and being a community. I think listening to our members is really important. This pandemic has obviously been something that is crazy and super tough. When we actually purchased the gym 2 weeks before COVID hit, and we had like about 250 members, and then within the first month fell down to 40. So it's been a long haul to get it back. And like, we're so grateful for the members that we have. And I think listening to them and their needs and their wants and sort of building something with them, not for them, but with them, is really what makes the difference there. So, something that like everyone was kind of itching to do was to get back together socially. So we thought, how can we do this responsibly? What makes sense? And how can I involve the community? So the perfect example of that is actually tomorrow we're doing spin, lift, drink. So we're doing a spinning class at a local spinning studio right down the block at 6:30. We're doing a boot camp class at 7:30. And then we're going to Fritz and Franz Beer House, which has like outdoor seating. And we're all just going to hang out there, and we're covering everyone's first round. So, there are pockets of really listening to our community and making sure that we build it with them. We're going to add yoga next month a few times a week, and that's something that our members are super excited about. And I think just listening to them about the arch of everything, not necessarily the services that we offer, but what they're looking for in a gym and the community aspect that they're looking to gain.
That is great. And I think it's all about that. I think, what you said, the more we do together, the more we grow. And as a community, I think Coral Gables, and of course we're new to this community. We just got here a few months back, but it's the support, even though we haven't even opened our doors. We've seen the support, and we've seen people just reaching out to us like, welcome you. And it's a family oriented, what you said. And we really love it. And I wanted to get a little bit into the business side in terms of talking the same concept in the people, but internally. You have your coaches, and sometimes it's hard, especially in an industry like yours, that turnaround, it's pretty high. You see coaches going from gym to gym. There's a lot of demand. You pay X amount of money for an hour, and then another gym offers more, and it's competitive, and it's hard to keep your people motivated and loving what they do every day. What do you do when they come in? How then in the middle, and then in the long term? How do you keep your people engaged?
So I think first I want to say, like, this is, we purchased this gym 2 weeks before the pandemic. We had to shut down for a while and then reopen. It's no secret that employment has been difficult across the board for everyone. And we have definitely seen our high highs and our low lows with employees. That being said, probably like the last 6 months, we've gotten a really solid crew of people that are in there. And the majority of it fell on us. It fell on management, really sort of understanding where our faults were, and how to be able to make a team that could grow and flourish in the way that you're describing. It does obviously circle back to community. Just as much as we say that we're a family with our members, we are also a family internally. And there's a lot of small things that we've done in place with our family, with our Burn family, to make sure that they're happy and that we're listening. So we do, this is very basic, but we do have weekly meetings, and that's something that's really important because we provide them the floor to be able to give us feedback, and we make sure that we're really listening to them. So, you know, it's some small things, but like one of the fans broke, and the coach will be like, hey, the fan has been broken for a week and I brought it up and like, it hasn't been replaced, and seems dumb, but like, we need to replace the fan. And for us, that's our weekly check-in to be like, oh crap, like we have so many things going on that we might not think of this, but that impacts their job.
And that's his priority in that moment when he's teaching a class.
Right. And I can look at it and say, oh my God, I have 1,000 things going on. It's one fan. We have 6 in the room, whatever. Or I can say, this is important to my trainer. It's important to the experience in general. And sure, we can go without it, but I need to listen to this feedback and get it replaced. So really listening to their feedback and like involving them in key decisions has been super important as well. We don't do anything not as a team. And as owners, we're very upfront with them. You know, we sit with them and we're like, these are our numbers. This is what's going on. This is the direction. This is what we're thinking about doing. These are the events. We want them to come to events. We want them to come to camp. We encourage all of those things. We encourage social gatherings. So, and we include them in everything. Like we have a partnership with a spinning studio this month where any member of Burn gets 4 free camps there. I put all of my trainers in. I was like, hey guys, let's go. Like, let's take this. Let's do it together. Sure. So really just building that. We've had lunches with them just to like make it a team and make it a family. And listening to any needs that they might have has been honestly key.
Definitely. And I think that makes a huge difference. And you said it, taking, you know, making those decisions with them, not for them only, but making them part of the conversation, because at the very end of the day, Chris, they're on the floor. Right. And they might know a little bit more about another area of the studio that you don't know, maybe because you're not there, maybe because you're not teaching, maybe because they're listening to the members a little bit more often than you are, right?
Exactly.
Front desk staff, maintenance staff, coaching staff, it's pretty much every single person. And that brings me to, you know, a little bit of on the personal side. One of the reasons why Orlando and I do these interviews is that because we want to get to know the person. We want to get to know the story behind a business. And you said something interesting. You said, when you went to psychology, you said law, and then you got into fitness, and now it's handling a business, not only, you know, taking the classes for your own pleasure, right? Yeah. How was that transition? I'm interested in knowing a little bit more about you and your struggles and your, you know, the challenges that you faced when you now have to, you know, change kind of the perspective. You're not enjoying a workout anymore just because you love fitness. Now you are providing a service for other people, and you're you're managing a business, and you got to make money. How was that transition for you in terms of resources or information? How did you get educated in that sense? How has that process been for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things here. I think first of all, like I said, it was a very natural evolution for me to end up in fitness. And it's been something that's really great, right? Like I just like kind of almost fell on this path of like, and that's where I say, I don't know what clicked to make me switch my diet, but something did, like divine intervention was like, hey, you're going to switch. And it was like one notch on the path. And then I decided randomly to walk into a workout class, and it was another notch on the path. So, you know, we purchased this business 2 weeks before COVID, and there's been a huge learning curve on our end, for sure, in the business sense, and learning resources and figuring out how to properly grow and figuring out how to listen to our team and grow a team and build a community. As far as the fitness aspect itself, my business partner has a ton of experience in the fitness industry. He's been in it for 14 years now. Right. He's really well known and has a lot of experience. So I use him as a lead for that stuff. And that's really been super helpful and super grateful. And then the other business stuff, I duct tape and I don't know, and hope, and you pull it together and you do what you can, and you try to hope that you're doing the best and move forward. And honestly, most times I think if you have the best intentions, it seems to work out, and that's what we hope for.
You put your heart into it, and then you hope for the best. That's basically what you can do. And that's what we talk about it. There's not no right or wrong in the business industry. You, of course, want to make money. You, of course, want to be profitable, but you also want to service your community. You want to, do well. And like you said, there's passion in it. You want to have the best intentions, but there's so much you can do,
right.
When you're facing those kind of situations. And I bet it was really challenging for you in the middle of the pandemic. Did you close down completely, or you waited for the opening?
No, so it still remains challenging. We were open for 2 weeks, and then we had to close.
Okay.
And we closed we had 250 members and fell down to 40. So that was a big, a big jump. And we've been open now, I think now it's like almost a full year, right? That we've been like back up and running. And it's a challenge. We did mask mandate at the beginning. Actually, we were one of the only gyms in the area that followed that mandate. It was important to us to maintain everyone healthy, especially our members and our staff. And we saw other gyms in the area that didn't do it. And we were like, no, we're going to stick to this mandate. It's the right thing to do. So we did that. And honestly, we suffered as a business. A lot of people weren't interested in working out with masks, which you can't blame them. I mean, it makes sense.
It is hard.
We still, till this day, there's a bunch of extra work involved because of the pandemic. We have a very strict cleaning protocol in place. It obviously, like if someone even gets a cold or a cough, we're like, all right, don't come in, like get tested, make sure. And that's stress on us because we have to cover that and make sure that that's okay. It's definitely like a growth. I will say the community has been an amazing part of this and like really uplifting and trying to help us as a business grow. We're still in that spurt where we definitely need growth. We're not out of the woods yet, but there is a lot of upward momentum. And I honestly attribute that to the community and to like their help and our family, our Burn family and our members and everything that we do.
Yeah. And in terms of that, when you're talking about the growth that you foresee and what you're seeing and the path that you guys are leaning into, and you're seeing, you're talking about the community and all these events that you guys are doing, what do you think are strategies besides, of course, the word of mouth and having that strong community that you have that have helped you and, are kind of taking you towards that growth that you need to be like, okay, we're now out of the woods. What do you need and what do you think like, okay, I need to get to this point? What are the strategies that you guys are implementing that are going to take you there?
I think the thing that probably sums it all up is consistency. So it's consistency across the board and across all of your strategies. You can't do one community event or 5 community events and then be like, all right, I did 5 community events. I got some coverage. I'm good. You have to, first of all, you have to really believe that you want to help and that you're doing it for that specific reason and you want to involve the community, and then be very consistent with that. And it's the same thing all the way around. We have a bunch of sales strategies in place. We have a bunch of marketing funnels in place. We have a bunch of ads in place, and it's being consistent across the board with everything. It's saying when someone enters into our funnel, they get 12 touch points from us, and they get 12 touch points from us. It's not 3, it's not 5, it's not I'm tired or they're tired. It's 12, and that's what that is. So consistency across the board, across all of our strategies. And I think, there's different strategies and different ways to go about it for every single business. But the thing that's going to work to cut across everyone is consistency and just really saying, this is what we're nailing down and this is what we're doing. And we've seen that that's been the most powerful tool for us is consistency.
I think, and you're bringing up a great point, consistency, not only on the service side, Chris, consistency in what you say and how you say it. And, that also comes down to how you're training your team, how you're keeping them motivated, because at the very end of the day, if you're the owner, you have a little bit more interest in keeping everything in order, right? Yeah. Your employee might love the concept, might love the business and the team, but how much is that a priority for them? So you said it, weekly meetings and other things that you're putting into practice every time to be able to remind not only your members, but your staff that this is what you need to do.
For our staff, we have weekly meetings. We obviously have tiered incentives, right, for them built in across the board.
For sure.
In ways that things that we think that, they should naturally be doing, but we understand that they're extra. So we want to make sure that they have tiered incentives built into that. We have tiered incentives built in for if we grow as a team. If we had X amount of members, every single person receives a raise. And from there and moving up, it's the same thing. So we have a lot of tiered incentives for our team. And then I also think consistency, not only for the team, consistency for not only what we're doing, but consistency with me as well. Something that I learned is if you want something like, let's say I want my team to post on Instagram, for example, I can have this meeting with them and I can tell them and I can go and I can sit and I can show them. But I realize that you have to be there 26 times, like just a number, right? Like 26 times I have to sit with them and not get frustrated, not like get upset, just say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we do it. This is how we go through it. And then after a while, they'll see like, oh, that's the way that we do it. And it's not, it's, you can't set something and then get frustrated when it doesn't get done, because that's not going to be the answer. And if that's the case, then honestly, you don't own a business, because it's never going to happen, right? Like, you need that consistency on your end. And there's so many small things that I can think of. Like, something that we implemented was the iPads have to be, our clients check in on iPads.
Okay.
And something that we implemented is the iPads have to be wiped down after every single camp, because that's something that everyone touches. They walk in and they touch it. So I'm like, let's wipe them down and let's disinfect them. Even if I'm covering the front desk shift, I will forget. I'll forget. But I realize, obviously, people are going to forget. But to build that consistency, I have to be there. And if someone misses it, say, hey, I know, like, I know, because even I forget, but you didn't wipe them down. So can we do that? And like, that's it. It doesn't become a whole situation, but just being consistent with the team, and then building those tiered incentives in, and really listening to their feedback. We get, I mean, and I've not like boast, but I've heard many times from our team members that they really enjoy working with us, and that they've never seen owners that like will clean the bathrooms. I'm like, hey, you're selling or you're cleaning up front and the bathrooms need to get done, and I'm here. I don't need to wait for you to do that. I got it. Like, we're part of a team. This is equal. It just needs to happen, and we'll do it together. Right. So, you know, I think those things really help with the team and with consistency and across all of our different strategies.
Yeah, and keeping consistency, I think, and doing all the small things, taking care of all the details. And when you're talking about consistency, it brings me up to, because you guys are a franchise, and you own a franchisee. And so when you're talking, a lot of the franchises, you know, they have guidelines, they have standards that you guys have to follow. I'm curious to know, like, how much of that influence your business? How much freedom do you actually have to kind of put your own touch into it? How does it work with you guys?
I would say we have a pretty fair amount of freedom. I think there's certain things that HQ will hand down that, you know, make natural sense. So it doesn't feel like we need to change that, you know, like there's just a lot of things that they naturally implement that we're like, oh, this makes sense. Like the focus meetings is something that is, you know, HQ has like a whole packet on like how to conduct them, what is constructive with them, what's not constructive with them. And I mean, right, we downloaded the packet, we read it with my knowledge and Patrick's knowledge, who has tons of knowledge in the fitness industry, my business partner, and like said, oh, well, this works for us and this doesn't work for us. But for the most part, a lot of it is really like a natural conversation, and most of it we implement, honestly. It really makes sense. And when we don't want to implement something, we don't. And when we want to implement our own things, we do as well. And a lot of it feels really natural in this space. And that's, I would say that's kind of what makes sense. There are obviously rules that we have to follow and certain things that we have to abide by, but they're not out of this world, right? Like they all make sense with the business.
Right. And now you're touching, you're basically talking about the resources that the franchise world is giving you, right? I want to get into, you know, kind of like start to share some advices or recommendations for other business owners and local entrepreneurs that maybe don't have access to those resources. What would your advice be? I know you have talked about, you know, building your team, being consistent, doing a little bit of everything and helping your team if they need something with the bathroom or if they need help with the front desk, whatever it is. Let's think about those resources that the franchise world gives you. How can they sit down and structure their business given the fact that they don't have those resources written down and provided to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, listen, even with those resources, and I'm sure as you guys know, it feels like we're spinning 86 plates at the same time. I'm like, oh my God, like, so.
That's exactly why I'm asking you that.
Right. There's always so many things. There's always like more things going on than we have time for. I think as business owners, that's just the reality of the situation. Yeah. There's more going on than we have time for. And realistically, it would be great if we could give 100% to all of those 86 things, but then nothing, right? That's not going to work, right? What's worked for me, honestly, what's worked for me first is breathing. Taking a moment, breathing.
Now you're putting yoga classes, so that's gonna help.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I would say breathing has definitely been very helpful for me, and pausing and setting intention. So it literally circles right back to the beginning with my diet, where I would set intention with, do I want this? Does this serve me? Do I not want this? And I can apply the same thing to work. I can look at my day and get overwhelmed by the fact that there's 86 things on my plate every single day, literally 24 hours a day. I don't have a day off. Like, we are constantly on the phone, constantly in meetings, constantly putting out fires. Or aside from a fire, which you can't control, I can look at my list and set intention and say, today, this is the hierarchy. These are the more important things. And this is what's going to serve me the most today. And yeah, there's certain things on this list that might drop off, but they're not as important as these things, because this is what's going to serve my business for the best. And then not get overwhelmed by the fact that, like, maybe today we didn't post on Instagram. Well, that's okay. I met with the Chamber of Commerce today. So being really finding that balance of sitting in tension and setting that hierarchy, and definitely breathing. Definitely breathing.
Oh, that's totally true. And I mean, Chris, you're saying it, understanding that if you're not posting on Instagram today, it's because you're doing something else. It might not be from the same department. It might not be kind of the same level of priority, but it's only one person, right? You can just do so much.
Yeah, exactly.
And it has to be, you have to be patient with yourself. That's something I would add. Like you said, you got to be patient with yourself. You got to understand where you're coming from. You got to understand you have the best intentions, but sometimes you really have to sit down, pause, breathe, make your list, and try to get organized. But it's so hard, even with the resources that a franchise
right. Yeah.
offers you. Yeah, there's so many departments, and I think that's a struggle that every single entrepreneur has. We're wearing so many hats. Sometimes we don't know how to juggle with everything.
Right.
And it's just nonstop every day. Chris, thank you so much for your time. I think what we have shared in this half an hour has been great. Super helpful advice. We really like the opportunity to talk to people and understand from the other side their story and everything that they go through, because we're firm believers that this helps so many people.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, for sharing your story. And we're looking forward to doing so many great things with Burn and GROU when we open next month.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I can't wait to have the coffee.
Yeah, we'll let you know for sure. We'll do so many fun.
Best advice for entrepreneurs: drink coffee.
I love that one.
Drink coffee. It's gonna help.
And brunch and everything with the members, because that's something that I really like from your story is the fact that you support the community so much. And I really hope a lot of entrepreneurs see that and see the opportunity of, supporting other people, which at the very end of the day helps them. So Chris, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys next week in the next Coffee with Founders.